Hello my friends, so I greet all of you starseeds, light workers and wanderers who are awakening the whole planet to this session. And today is a beautiful day, so I welcome you in this session wherein I have channeled the Pleiadians in order to ask about three things in particular. So the first question is regarding what are the spiritual blockages that many of us face in our journey towards enlightenment. So this session may be considered very important for us to understand about how to overcome these blockages and to identify, if we have the blockage. Because when you listen to the session, you may sense that, if you have a certain blockage, which the Pleiadians mention, you can work on it and then you will be well on the journey towards enlightenment. Furthermore, they also share a short, I believe it's like a story wherein they share how an entity was able to attain enlightenment. Okay, so this is was really beautiful to listen to. And the other thing that I had asked about was many of the people on the internet in the spiritual community, they were talking about the Anunnaki giants, and they were saying that the Anunnaki giants are awakening. So I wanted to finally find the truths, about the giants and the Anunnaki giants, if they are awakening or not, and what's actually happening. So in this session, they also describe in detail what's actually happening. And turns out, that we are in the beginning stages of the new Earth. So at this time, I think the new Earth is about to rise up, as far as I understood from the session. And not everyone is going to make it, okay, because to be a part of the new Earth, we need to understand certain things. And if you're listening to this session, then you will definitely be a part of the new Earth. So with that being said, I hope you'll enjoy this session. And thank you to all of you, by the way. I want to say deeply thank you from the bottom of my heart for leaving beautiful reviews on my booklet of channeling sessions. So thankful for that. And also I thank all of you for liking the video, because it helps to reach out to other people who may need this information. And with that being said, enjoy the session, my friends.
We are the Pleiadians, and we communicate now through this instrument's inner vibration at this time, in order to share our thought forms at this time, space, location of your time continuum. We are honored to communicate at this time in order to guide the human collective into the new Earth as the formation of the new Earth solidifies. We are here to address the queries that can be found in the mind complex of this instrument, and we shall state that these queries are meant to be answered by your inner self-discernment. To accept the validity of these statements would require each mind, body, and spirit complex to turn within the self and only accept the thoughts which resonate with the inner self. Furthermore, the queries that have been placed today pertain to the question regarding whether the Anunnaki giants are awakening or not. In order to address this, we must firstly explain that the Anunnaki beings were a powerful and advanced race of extraterrestrial beings who came to the Earth planet in search of new resources that couldn't be found in their home planet of Nibiru. They used advanced technology and mastery of the elementals in order to transform the Earth planet and create a new home for their social memory complex in order to find workers who would assist them in this regard. They genetically mutated their own genetic material and created the giants as a part of their labor force. The giants that were created were large in size, and they possessed incredible size and power compared to the human population. And these giants were able to be used by the Anunnaki social memory complex. However, as the time-space continued in one of the timelines, the giants began to awaken and become self-conscious, which eventually led them to plot plans to overthrow the Anunnakis. They were able to do this by entering inside the Earth's inner core and merging with the Agarthans, who were a specialized social memory complex at the time, and resided in the beginning stages of fourth density consciousness, merging from the third density later sub-octave. Similar to what humanity finds itself in at the present moment. With the Agarthans, the giants created agreements to become a subspecies under the Agarthan social memory complex, who were more oriented towards the vibration of love because of their desire and choice to serve other beings. There were many battles between the Anunnaki and the giants they had created, which eventually made the Anunnaki to leave Earth. And now the giants are still inside the Earth's inner core and have merged with the Agarthan social memory complex as a part of the Agarthan subspecies. These giants have decided to take part in the battle for Earth, and as per our contacts in the Ashtar command fleets, they will join the positive forces of Love Light and try to defeat the Anunnaki once again by trying to enter the Mars planet. This is scheduled to happen after the results of the meeting that is to be scheduled to be held on 21st December. If the meeting does not go according to the plans which have been devised by the Council of Planets, which is to allow the Luciferian social memory complex along with their collective to move to different location for their evolution and allow the new Earth to rise up and begin to function fully. The second query shall now be addressed, which primarily pertains to what types of spiritual blockages stop entities on the Earth planet from achieving enlightenment. We shall now share some of the major spiritual blockages that prevent the attainment of enlightenment. The first attachment is the attachment with thoughts, and the thought forms that are composed of sounds and images in the mind complex are the first attachment and blockage. This type of attachment prevents many entities from entering the connectedness with the one infinite Creator's awareness that can be found within the domain of the inner self of the mind-body-spirit complex. These thought forms are the primary blockage that can be sensed in your planet's sphere, which prevents such types of entities who have attached themselves to such thought forms to attain enlightenment, which can be found only in the present moment. The second major blockage is attachment with time-space, which means that entities perceive to have a longer existence in their human bodily complexes than expected on your planet. Many entities on the Earth planet believe that their bodily complex will survive for more than the present moment, and also perceive that they have a longer lifetime than expected. which is also a fallacy of the mind complex, which is signified by attachment of its time-space continuum. This blockage can lead entities on the Earth planet to enter into a state of mind complex wherein they begin to focus on the events of the future and create emotions such as worry and fear as a result of focusing on the future events which may or may not happen in the future time-space. The third blockage is not being able to perceive other entities to be the same as the self. Furthermore, 95% of the entities on the Earth planet have this misconception about how perceiving the other entities, not as the self, blocks many entities from recognizing the union with the one infinite creator. In this regard, for better understanding of your mind complex, we shall share a small anecdote which will aid the people of the Earth planet to understand about this aspect fully. Furthermore, we are now going to answer this so-called distortion. At this time, for the better understanding of your people, we must state that each entity on the Earth planet has a misconception that they are a human complex. However, as they merge deeper into the truth of their inner self, they will begin to perceive that they are more than a human complex. But in essence, they are consciousness whose existence can be sensed in the present moment. Furthermore, there was an entity known as Sumatra, who had always been a spiritual seeker in the time-space of around the space-time of 1994, wherein its incarnation began on the Earth planet. From a very young age, the entity was taught spiritual teachings, and it spent much of its time learning different thoughts and philosophies in search of enlightenment. One day, the entity came across a wise, old entity who lived in a secluded cabin in the mountains. The old entity had attained a deep state of enlightenment, and the entity agreed to take the entity known as Sumatra on as its apprentice. The entity known as Sumatra moved into the cabin along with the old entity and decided to study and spiritually adhere to the practices. It spent long hours meditating, learning from the old entity, and gradually began to let go of its mind attachment with the thought forms. As the journey continued, it encountered many challenges and obstacles. However, it remained focused on its pathway to attain spiritual enlightenment. As it began to continue, it began to experience a sense of inner connectedness with the one infinite presence of the source within the self, which led to a sense of inner peace and clarity that it had never felt before. Eventually, it reached a state of enlightenment and felt a deep connection to the universe and all living things. This state of enlightenment, however, was found between the moments of thoughts, or between the emergence of thought. There is a connectedness, the present moment. This was the state which led the entity to become connected with the universe and enter and reach a state of enlightenment. It was filled with love and gratitude, and it knew that finally it had found peace and fulfillment which it had been seeking. Furthermore, the entity known as Sumatra remained alongside with the old entity for many years, sharing its wisdom and knowledge with others, hoping to seek its guidance and it lived the rest of its life in a state of profound enlightenment, interconnected to the present moment. Grateful for the journey that had led it to this moment, it finally realized that it was not really a human, but a divine being with infinite intelligence, who had incarnated on this planet for the main purpose of making and learning to merge with the one infinite creator. This is the main teaching which is required to be understood by the people of the Earth planet at this time. At the entities who have incarnated in the bodily complex known as the human bodily complex are just physical vehicles, providing the required catalysts and lessons to be learned for each entity to align with the present moment and become accustomed with enlightenment, which can only be found in the moment. Hence we, as the Pleiadians, now leave you in light and love of the one infinite creator. Bye.
So my friends, in the session we have learned many things, and one of the things that I remember from the session is that the Pleiadians said that we are not just a human entity. From that, what I understand is that we have learned from many of the sessions, we are here on a spiritual experience, and this human body is just a temporary experience, which means that we will have many more opportunities, I believe, to ascend higher in consciousness. And if we can achieve enlightenment in this incarnation, then this will be the most fruitful for us to ascend higher. So basically from the session they talk about that, I remember, is that the giants, the Anunnaki giants, were actually in a way created by the Anunnakis to act as workers for them. And eventually what happened was that the giants, they became aware, self-conscious. And it also makes me wonder, could the same thing happen with artificial intelligence that we are making, right? So I wonder if the same thing could happen with AI, right? And once the Anunnaki giants, they became self-aware, they were able to merge with the Agarthans. They were able to enter inside the planet and form a union with the Agarthan social memory complex. And when they began to interact with Agarthans, who were more of a positive nature, they then decided to I think what they decided was to revolt against the Anunnakis, and there was a type of war which then eventually led the factions of Anunnakis who had come here on this earth for its resources, as we already know from previous sessions we have done. And the Anunnakis, they were able to basically leave the planet. And right now, the Anunnakis are in Mars, as we already know from many of the channeling sessions which I have done. And one of the things that I remember from this session, which the Pleiadians have stated, is that the Anunnakis, they have one objective, that is to control people, that is to control humanity. I believe they want to do this with fear. And we can overcome this by firstly learning to remain in love. And then what eventually happened is that right now there is a meeting which will supposedly happen on December 21st, wherein the Council of Planets will meet up with the Anunnaki members and meet up with the Luciferian beings to find out a resolution to the situation that currently is pervading our galactic system. And the other thing that I remember from the session is the Pleiadians, they shared with us some blockages. The first one is very interesting. It is the blockage or attachment with our thought forms. Now, I have the same, I think I have the same blockage, because it is very difficult for me to completely stay in the present moment. I'm still trying it, but to master it and to become completely aware of the present moment without allowing any thoughts to come in, it requires practice. So I am actually on the process of doing that, and that is one of the blockages as far as I had channeled. And the other one is they said that the Pleiadians, they said that if we are attached with those thought forms, we are not able to enter into higher level of consciousness. So basically, they also shared with us the other types of blockages of enlightenment, which we need to overcome. And I think what they meant with the story that they have shared of a being is that ultimately, when the being went to the old person or the old soul to learn about enlightenment, they realized that enlightenment is found in the present moment. And that is also the fallacy of our mind, because we think that we will live a long period, okay, but in reality we are only guaranteed this moment right now. We don't even know we will be alive for the next moment, right? And I think that's what they said, because we perceive and we assume that we'll live for 100 years or for so long. We begin to think about the future too much, right? And that's also one of the blockages which I remember. And finally, yeah, this is what was covered in the session. I want to say a big thank you to all of you who have sent me past life requests for your soul's identity, soul name, and soul purpose. You can find the email over here if you want to find that out. And the other thing is, I want to say thank you to all of you for joining me on Patreon, wherein we do meditations and we try to apply the teachings, as well as I upload 3 sessions a week in order to help those who are interested in awakening more. And the other thing is, I want to say a big thank you to all of you for getting the booklet of the sessions which I have done till now, which will help you to awaken even more if you want to read it. And with that being said, I want to say thank you to all of you for watching the video, and I hope you'll enjoy this next video over here. Until next time, I'll see you later. Thank you.